this is May the 1st, and my daughter and son-in-law made it up. As I mentioned on one of the previous videos, I was going to take my son-in-law with me turkey, and actually I'm taking him turkey hunting since I can't hunt, so I'll just be running the camera. But this is his first time turkey hunting. He's never been before, so it's going to be a new experience for him, so hopefully he'll enjoy it. But above and beyond that, hopefully we'll get a bird. The weather is completely different again. We've had all different types of weather this year. Right now the wind's blowing 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's what the gusts are. So obviously from a strategy standpoint, we're going to get off the sides of the ridges down into some deep hollers out of the wind. I believe that's what the turkey's going to be doing. It rained last night too, but the rain's gone. It's partly cloudy right now, but the main thing is the wind, so we got to play the wind to our favor. And there's one bird I'd really like to get. That's the one that we let go that second hunt video that we had out there. So he was actually working a flat on a windy day, so I think I may just go straight there if we can't roost something. But primarily we're going to try to go in and roost something. If we can't roost anything, we'll go set up cold on that flat. So we'll see in a little bit. Okay, I'm in the car with my son-in-law and we're getting ready to go in. This morning, as I said earlier, we got some strong wind gusts today. From what I saw in the forecast, it's 40 to 50 miles per hour gusts, so we're going to try to get off the backside of a ridge out of the wind. But it rained last night, but it's partly cloudy right now, so the rain's pretty much out of here. It's just we got to deal with the wind. And then, what is this, your first time turkey hunting?
This is my first time turkey hunting.
So what are you expecting today?
To shoot a turkey.
So we're going to head in there. We got a pretty good walk ahead of us. Okay, you guys can see by the way the trees are moving, the wind's blowing pretty hard. Hopefully we won't get those 50 mile per hour gusts, but I'm getting ready to do an owl call. It's still fairly dark in here, so I don't think the birds have hit the ground yet. Woo! Woo! We didn't get anything to respond, so I guess we'll just go in and set up cold on that one flat. I hear it. Sounds like he's going away from us. What? back down in here real quick. And hopefully this bird will work up to us. What I'm trying to do is set this bird up. If this is that same bird that's been working that west ridge, he's seen a few hunting seasons. So I'm gonna get about 50 yards ahead above my son-in-law, and I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call 3 or 4 times, and I'm gonna make him think we're way up here, and then I'm gonna go back, sit up behind the camera, and then I'm not gonna make any more calls. So, see if we can outsmart this bird. Like I said, he's seen a few hunting seasons. See what happens. It's about 7:30. This is our second setup. I've called twice about 50 yards away up on the ridge, trying to bring this bird in. But he stopped gobbling about 15 minutes ago, so I don't know whether he got with the hen or if something wasn't just right, or maybe he saw something. We're going to stay here a few more minutes, then we're going to go to our next setup. Okay, this was our third setup this morning, and we actually were going to a bench on this ridge behind us over here. And we heard a bird gobbling down this way, and we just eased through the woods and kept following his gobble. Set up pretty close to him, and as soon as I called, he went on mute. He didn't gobble anymore after that. So we've been here 20-25 minutes, so now we're gonna go back to that bench. We're actually gonna go over to that bench and set up. And this will be our fourth setup this morning. It's about 8:30. So we're just gonna keep moving around this ridge. May move a few other places, but we're gonna listen. If the birds gobble, we'll go to them. If not, then we'll just set up cold and call to them. Okay, real quick, it's about 9:15. I made it to this bench. You can see it over here. We got set up. He's in the ground blind that I made back in March, so the birds are used to it. And we're gonna let the decoy set up. I don't know if you can see it over here to the left. Got the decoy set up on the upper side of the ridge, so nothing low can see it without having to come in. So we're gonna sit here and make a few calls. Yeah, the wind's starting to die down a little bit. It's still in the 40s, so it's still relatively cool. So Give this setup about 30-35 minutes. Okay, I'm looking at this fan that I just did. Actually, I did it this year, but this was the first turkey I harvested. You may have saw that on that first video that I did, where I actually had to crawl to get the shot. But that fan turned out really good. So it's very seldom where I hunt on public lands, in these mountainous terrains, that you actually find a fan that's in good condition. A lot of times the feathers are torn or they're damaged in some way, but that fan turned out really good, so I'm happy with that. But what I want to talk about today is the hunt I have with my son-in-law, Keith. Now, that was his first hunt, and I really didn't know what to anticipate because I had been hunting in Virginia for 2 weeks, getting my tail kicked. And coming back to North Carolina, I hadn't been in the woods. And on top of that, the weather wasn't that great. It was rainy that night, but fortunately the rain stopped that morning, but that front brought in a lot of wind. And they had forecast 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Fortunately, that didn't transpire, but it was still very windy that morning, and it was slightly cool. I think it was in the 40s. So the plan was to get on the backside of the ridges, get in deep hollers, away from the winds, because I anticipate the birds doing the same thing. And I really wanted to focus on that one area where I had let that tom go earlier in the year, because I felt like that was a really mature gobbler. So that was really the strategy going in. So we went in, we tried to locate a bird with my wrestling owl call and couldn't get anything to respond. So we went straight to that. We're going straight to that flat. But en route to that flat, we actually heard a bird gobble. So we immediately got set up, and it sounded like the bird was going away from us. So I didn't know how well that was going to work out. Maybe I should have moved in a little closer. This is one of those things that you got to play it by ear, So if you get in too close, they see you, game over. If you don't get in close enough and they don't see you, but they don't come in, you're still in the game. So I got set up where I felt like he was going to come through. I got above us, made some calls, and long story short, you saw the video, the bird just hung up. He wouldn't come in. So what could I have done differently there? And I just, sitting back thinking about it, maybe I could have used a yelp call and backed out away from the setup to make it look like the hen was actually leaving. Or I could have challenged his dominance and maybe used a gobble call. And I had one with me and used that, hoping to bring him in, being really aggressive. But you just got to be careful when you're on public land when you're using a gobble call, right? So those are a couple of things we could have done possibly different that may have changed the outcome of that hunt. But I'll tell you what, after being away for 2 weeks and going in just absolutely cold that morning, not knowing where the birds were at, and getting on the bird, and actually we got on 2 birds, but I feel like it was in the same area. I feel like that was that same bird. We got on him early. He hung up, and we backed out. And while he was gobbling, we backed out, circled around and tried to set up again. He never would come in, and then we heard a bird gobble again. So I feel like it was the same bird. But we were super fortunate to be able to get on that bird. After being out of the woods for 2 weeks. That's just turkey hunting. I was pumped just to hear a bird after being in Virginia for 2 weeks. Well, hunting in Virginia for 2 weeks. I think it was 4 hunts. I only hunted 2 days a week and not hearing anything at all. So we were super pumped up about hearing the birds, but that's just part of it. We enjoyed that hunt. So just some of the things I'd like to file back in the memory bank is during that scenario, what could I have done differently to maybe improve the chance of bringing that bird in. And obviously there's a bird up there that will not come into a hen call. It just will not. So we're going to have to use a different strategy on that one. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll, Lord willing, we'll have a few more videos for you in the future. Maybe we'll add some fishing to it, because I enjoy crappie and bass fishing. Kind of got to have something to bridge the gap between turkey and deer season. So we'll see you next time.